Blessings, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for joining me today. Any props that you will need are a blanket, possibly if you feel like you might want that for your knees or to sit on, some blocks for any forward folds, and then I have something new here that we're going to use today because we're going to do a little bit of a focus on the feet and give them some love. So I have this, it's called an alpha ball. If you don't have an alpha ball, you can use a tennis ball. Um, if you have dogs, any of their little tennis balls will work. Just make sure it's not gross. Um, or just any small kind of more dense, heavier ball. Um, and we're going to use that to work in the feet a little bit today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to scooch back to my mat. Oops. I'm going to make sure not to lose my ball today. So we are going to start in a comfortable cross-legged seat. So whatever feels right to you today. You can sit on a block, you can sit on a blanket, whatever you feel like doing, whatever is good in your body. And we're going to start with just taking a few deep centering breaths to really get ourselves prepared for today's practice. So if it feels good to you, you can soften your gaze or even close down your eyes. And we'll take a few breaths in and out. So while you're here breathing, just really focus on your breath. Let go of anything that's happened in the day thus far. Take one more big inhale. And exhale, let it all go. When you're ready, you can slowly bat the eyes open or bring more attention into your gaze. And we're going to start to warm up the body. Today's practice is pretty active, so we want to make sure that we're nice and warm so there's not any injuries. So the first thing that we're going to do is just roll our shoulders. So actually, instead of rolling them both at the same time, let's focus on each side individually. So I'm going to roll my right shoulder first, so you'll want to roll that up, back, and down. And it doesn't have to be a really big movement, just really small movements are good. One more, and then go ahead and reverse. So we want to make sure to go in both directions and really get some mobility in our shoulders. When you're ready, go ahead and bring that to stillness, and we're going to move to our other side. So for me, it's my left side. You may have started on a different side. So just moving that shoulder just up, back, and down really gently. Again, does not have to be a huge movement. When you're ready, go ahead and reverse that. Keep breathing while you're rolling your shoulders out. Alright, and when you're ready, go ahead and bring that to stillness. Next, go ahead and take your left hand, place that on your right knee. And then we're going to take our right fingertips and just swing them around behind us. So on an inhale, set up really straight. And on an exhale, go ahead and turn to look over to the right. So turn your torso and twist. Inhale, sit up a little straighter, and exhale, turn a little bit further into that twist if it feels right in your body. If it does not, go only as far as what feels comfortable to you. Don't try and force or crank it. And remember to keep breathing while you're here. go ahead and return to center. We'll just take a breath here. Compare your two sides and see how they both feel. Alright, now we'll move to the other side. So go ahead and take your right hand, place it on your left knee, and we're going to take our left fingertips and swim those around back. So again, on the inhale, sit up nice and straight. And on your exhale, go ahead and turn that torso towards the left. Inhale, sit up a little bit straighter. Exhale, see if you can turn a little bit more, only if it feels good in your body. And breathe. Just wringing out the organs, warming up through the back and the torso. And once you're ready, go ahead and return back to center. Kind of shake it out, see how everything feels. I'm going to move over just a little bit, and we're going to stretch out our side bodies next. So I'm going to take my right hand down, and you can use your right hand, left hand, whichever hand. We're going to do both sides. And I'm just going to walk my fingertips out a little bit and lift my left arm up to the ceiling. So on an inhale, I'm going to sit up nice and straight. Exhale, I'm going to cross that midline, bending through my right arm, and just feel that stretch through the left side body. Remember to breathe while you're here. If your shoulders creep up at all, make sure to pull them right back down your body. And only go as far as feels comfortable to you. Inhale, go ahead and sit up straight. On an exhale, release that right hand down. Take a couple breaths here. Again, comparing both sides, see how they feel. Alright, on your next inhale, make sure your left hand, or whichever hand was not down, switch to your opposite side. So go ahead and stretch that left arm up, or left arm out. You can do little spider fingers if you'd like. Lift the right arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale, sit up nice and straight, and on an exhale, go ahead and cross that midline and breathe. Make sure that you're not collapsing in your head. Make sure to keep it nice and straight. You can even turn and look up towards your hand if it feels good to you. On your next inhale, go ahead and return up to center, and on an exhale, release that right arm back down. Alright, so now we're going to start to give our feet a little bit of love. So I'm going to start with my right foot. I'm just going to bring my right foot in front of my left foot. And then you can just start to massage your foot. Depending on your job, you might be on your feet all day. Depending on the season that you're practicing this in, kind of also depends on footwear. If you're wearing a lot of flip-flops, I know right now it's really hot today. We're almost to 100 here, and nobody wants to wear shoes, so it's a lot of flip-flops, and those can cause people a lot of foot pain just because they're so flat, there's no support. So really give your foot some love. We often ignore them, and they really do carry us, stabilize us. Just a quick little foot rub. And then once you've had enough of that, you've kind of massaged your foot, given it some love, warmed it up a little bit, go ahead and take your fingers of your left hand and interlace them in between your right toes. So if you've had a pedicure, you know those little toe separators, or I think there's actually something called maybe yogi toes. So kind of something like that. And then from here you can gently, don't crank it, don't really force it, but you can kind of move those toes around, feeling some separation in between each little piggy. Remember to keep breathing. You can even, if you want to cradle your foot, you can even do some ankle circles right here with your foot. Just do whatever feels good to you today. Alright, when you've had enough of that, go ahead and place your right foot down in front. And then crawl your fingertips forward. And we're just going to get a little stretch in the hips. You don't have to go very far. Hello, Fritz. Please? I see your toy. He has a little ring toy. Go. If you want to go farther and come to your elbows, you can. But it's not necessary. Just even stay up, and you'll feel a nice release in that hip. Make sure to keep breathing. Your next exhale, go ahead and walk your hands back, and we are going to switch our feet. So I'm going to bring my left foot in front of my right foot, or in front of my right leg, and then I'm just going to start to massage that foot a little bit. There are lots of different meridian points in your feet, and different acupuncture points in your feet also. So just giving your feet some love and tending to them really can help with the rest of your body, because it really is all connected. And a lot of times we don't think about our feet unless we're getting a pedicure or something is wrong with our feet, or they do hurt, or something happens to our feet to make us really think about it. All right. When you're ready, go ahead and take the fingers of your right hand, interlace them between your left toes. My toes are a little bit tighter on this side, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to do that. If you can't do all your fingers, you can just do your first two, your peace fingers, and go in between each set. A few months ago, I actually injured my heel and cut it open pretty bad. So it's just finally now healing, but I had to really adjust a lot of my movements based on that injury and not put a lot of pressure on it, like get her to put shoes on or anything like that. So you really start to pay attention to your foot when something bad happens. So this kind of helps to, there's always something that could happen, but this helps to prevent some injuries too, just paying attention to your feet, seeing how they're feeling, and all of that. All right, when you've had enough of that, you can go ahead and release your foot, and then we're going to walk forward with that left hip forward with our hands, and just feel that nice release in that hip. And remember to keep breathing. Sam is sleeping today. He's over here. I think you might be able to see his foot right there. out Fritz. Franco is not here today. All right, let's go ahead and walk back up. We're going to do a few more things for the feet. So let's go ahead and transition kind of into more of a tabletop position. And go ahead and bring the tops of your feet flat to the floor. And then go ahead and walk back to where you're sitting on your heels, your hands resting on your feet. Make sure you're nice and straight in your back and in your posture and that you're looking forward. If this is too much on your heels, you can always bring a blanket in between, and that'll bring your hips up a little bit. You can also, if that is not comfortable for you, you can also bring a block. And I'm going to turn here. You can bring it in between kind of your knees, and you can sit on that. I'm going to adjust it a little bit so you can come to sit on that. Let me turn to the side. Oops. So you can always do that too. Completely up to you. Do what feels right in your body today. We'll just take a couple breaths here. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go shove him out of the way. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and come into a tabletop position. Wow, he's almost as tall as me. Go lay down. And we're going to turn our toes under. So go ahead and just turn your toes under, and then go ahead and walk back. Now you can stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can walk up further and come to a seat like we did before in that modified hero's pose. But if your toes are really talking to you here, go ahead and lower back down a little bit. So really listen to your body, listen to your feet, and do what feels right for you today. One more breath. All right, go ahead and come back forward again. Untuck your toes, and then let's walk back again. That ball is not yours, Fritz. And we're going to come back into that hero's pose and really kind of do that reverse stretch and breathe. Have a puppy in your face. Take this time to pet them. Say hello. All right, so we're going to come off those feet. So go ahead and come back into a tabletop position. So hands underneath your shoulders, legs underneath your hips. Excuse you, go sit down. Oh, this is fun with dogs. Go lay down. Come on, go lay down. All right, and when you're ready, let's walk our palms our hands just one palm per ahead of where they were. Go ahead and tuck your toes. On an inhale, lift the knees off the ground and hover. And on an exhale, go ahead and straighten through the legs. Bring your hips up, back, and down. Downward facing dog. You can take a few breaths to walk your dog if you'd like by bending one knee and straightening the other. And then go ahead and bring that to stillness when you're ready. When you're ready, go ahead and look forward. And on an inhale, let's go ahead and step it forward. Now from here, you can use your blocks to bring the floor up to you. You can bend your knees as generously as you'd like. We're just coming into a nice, our first forward fold of today. We're going to do several, but this is just the first one. So my hamstrings are a little tight. I'm going to use my blocks. So on an inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, go ahead and release that. If your legs are straighter than mine, just make sure that there is a slight bend in them. You don't want to lock them out. And on your next inhale, let's go ahead and roll all the way up. Loop your shoulders up, back, and down, and we're going to come into a nice mountain pose. Make any adjustments you like right now. All right. We're going to do some more work on our feet. So when you're in this mountain pose, go ahead and lift your feet up and then press them down and really feel your foot on the ground. Think about a cat when they're pawing. Think about that. Or when Chai does it to me, I say she's making biscuits. So imagine like just kneading and really spreading your toes, and then when you're putting them on the ground, really gripping into your mat. So do that a few times. And once you've had enough, go ahead and loop your shoulders again and just come to stillness, and we'll take a couple breaths here. All right, so go ahead and grab your ball if you have one. And so I'm just going to grab my little ball here, place it on the ground, and then go ahead and bring your foot to the ball, and then just kind of roll it around, making sure to stay stable in your whichever leg is standing first. You can go one way, and you can go the other, and I'm just rolling it around my arch. Making sure to get my heel. You can roll it back and forth. You can go ahead and put your toes on it. You can roll around on your toes, making sure to hit each and every one. These balls, if you have an alpha ball, they are not puppy proof. So don't let your puppy get them. It's not a ball for Fritz. Go on. Not for you. He's very interested in this ball. All right, when you've had enough of that, go ahead and switch your feet. Again, just rolling one way and then the other way, putting a little bit of pressure so you can feel that resistance against your foot. And it should feel really nice. It may not at first. Sometimes it can take a little bit of work before this feels good. If standing with this doesn't feel good, you can always do this seated. So if you work at a desk all day and you have one of these little balls or even a tennis ball, you can do this while you're working or just during the day, and that will help get some mobility in your feet. Oops, lose your ball, chase it back down. Make sure to do all of your feet, so your arches, your toes, the heel. All right, so I'm going to stop that. And then next I'm going to stretch out my calf a little bit. So I'm going to use this ball, and I'm just going to bring the top of my foot, or the ball joint of my foot, just to the top of this ball, and then just kind of stretch into it, keeping my other foot on the floor. You should feel a nice stretch in that calf. And just make sure to breathe. I have a big foot, so depending on how big your foot is, you may not have to go this far. So just kind of go to where it feels right to you again. gonna switch my feet. Let's go ahead and switch your foot, bringing that ball joint to the top of that ball. Again, you should feel a nice calf stretch here. Breathe. All right, and then you can remove your foot from that ball. We are not going to need this ball anymore, so you can throw it, you can get rid of it. I'm not going to throw mine because it's heavy and these dogs will destroy it. So I'm going to put it up here behind me for now. All right, one last little foot thing that we'll do before we move on and really start flowing is go ahead and take whichever foot you want to first and just step it back with the top of the foot on the floor, and you should feel a nice stretch in the front of your leg. And breathe. Ready, you can go ahead and remove that foot. I'm going to come to the other side. I'm going to step that next foot out, bringing the top of my foot to the floor and feeling that nice stretch in the front of my leg there. I'm going to keep saying the front of my calf, but I don't think it's the front of my calf. And you keep a little bit of a bend in your knee too, so you're not collapsing all your weight. Alright, so when you're ready, go ahead and shake your legs out, shake your feet out, adjust your clothing, do anything you need to do before we get started. And we are going to start. We've had enough footwork, we're nice and warm. We're going to go ahead and start flowing a little bit. This is going to be a little bit quicker than some of my classes, so be prepared. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in myself. We're going to do this. This is yoga for self-belief. All right, so go ahead and come up to the top of your mat. Come into your mountain pose. So feet firmly rooted into the ground now that they're nice and stretched out and warmed up. Roll your hips up, back, and down. Fritz is bringing a beheaded and destuffed kangaroo to this party. When you're ready, go ahead and lift your arms up towards the ceiling, and on an exhale, hinge at your hips. Keep a little bend in your knee, and we're going to come down to our forward fold. Again, you can use your blocks if needed, or you can bring your fingertips to the floor or your hands to the floor. Just make sure you're not rounding through your back. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower back down. And we'll breathe here. Your next inhale, look forward, and we're going to step one foot back. Go ahead and lower that foot to the, or that knee to the floor, and we're going to come into a nice low lunge. So you can make sure your knee is at a 90-degree angle, and that you're pushing that knee out towards your pinky toe. You should feel a nice stretch in your quad here, and breathe. Go ahead and place your hands down. Press into your thumb, your pinky, and your middle finger. Tuck the toes of your foot that is back and lift the knee. Go ahead and shift the foot that's in front back. Lift your hips up, and we're going to come into a downward facing dog. When you're here, just go ahead and breathe. On your next inhale, look forward, come up to your tippy toes, and then shift your body forward until you come into a plank. Push back through your heels. And we're going to breathe here for just a moment. My hair's in my face. Right, go ahead and lower your knees to the ground. You can untuck the toes and then lower down to your mat. I hope you guys can see my head. I think you can. Make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. And on an inhale, go ahead and lift your forehead up. We're just going to come into a little baby cobra to start warming up. While Fritz is in my face. Come on, go on. Come on, go on. Fritz, go on. Alright, on your next inhale, go ahead and lower back down. Push yourself back up into a tabletop position. Curl your toes under and then lift the knees up, and we're going to come back into our plank pose. And from here, just breathe. One more breath. And when you are ready, go ahead and push yourself back up into your downward facing dog. So from your plank, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Remember to keep breathing. Make sure to ground through your whichever the opposite foot that was in front, ground through that foot. And then the foot, I'm going to go ahead and lift my left foot. My right foot was up in front for that low lunge to start with. So I'm going to transition to my left foot. So I'm going to lift my left foot up. And then on an exhale, bending that knee in, shift forward and step that left foot forward, coming into that nice low lunge. Again, you can drop the knee and then just make sure that your chest is nice and up. Your knee should be at a 90-degree angle, so make any adjustments that you need. And you can also use blocks here again to prop yourself up if you need a little bit more of a boost. And from here, just breathe. Ready, make sure to plant your palms, tuck the toes under if you haven't already, lift the knee, look forward and kind of bend through that knee, and go ahead and step your foot that's in the back. So I'm stepping my right foot up to the top of the mat. Inhale, come up halfway, exhale, forward fold. Take a couple breaths here, feel that nice stretch in your quads. Again, you can use your blocks to bring the floor up to you if you need it. If you'd like to, I guess. And once you're ready, roll all the way up. We're going to come back into our mountain pose for just a couple breaths. Again, while you're here, take any movements necessary before you move into stillness. Next inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling, and on an exhale, let's float our hands back down, hinge at the hips, coming back into that forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, exhale, release. We'll stay here for just a moment. All right, I'm going to step from here. I'm going to step my right foot back again. And this time, instead of lowering my knee, I'm going to stay up. And I'm going to rise up in my torso and feel really strong in my legs. Your legs shouldn't be close together. They shouldn't be on a tightrope. So they should be kind of on parallel train tracks. Again, the front knee should be bent at a 90 degree. With your knee pressing out to the side, you should be able to see your big toe. You leave your hands on your hips. You can leave them in prayer, or you can lift them up to the ceiling. Whatever feels good to you today. And breathe. Right, on your next inhale, look forward, and on an exhale, go ahead and lower your hands down to your mat. Step the left foot back to meet the right, and we're going to come into a plank pose again. So breathe here. If it's in your practice, you can lower down into chaturanga, or lower your knees. You can untuck your toes and then lower down onto the belly. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head up either into your baby cobra, or this time, if you want to go a little bit further, push into your hands, straighten through the arms, and come into your full cobra. And breathe. Your pelvis should still be on the ground. If this is feeling too cranky in your back, lower down. Your next exhale, go ahead and lower your head towards the mat. And then tuck your toes under, come up to all fours. On an inhale, lift your knees, and on an exhale, lift your hips up and back, straightening through the legs. Come into a downward facing dog. And breathe. And your next inhale, lift your left leg up. And on an exhale, bend through the knee, shift forward, look forward, and step your left foot up in between your hands. Make any adjustments on that back leg that you need to, and we're going to come up into a high lunge on the other side. So from here, just breathe. Or do whichever foot was opposite. I think actually it should be my right foot that's up here and not my left foot. So there we go. I'm going to switch my legs real quick. So just do whichever opposite side. Inhale, look forward, and on an exhale, go ahead and release that, bringing your hands to the mat. You can rock back and forth on that left leg, and then step it forward. Inhale, come up to flat back, halfway up. Exhale, release, going into a full forward fold. We'll just cool it off here a little bit and breathe. On your next inhale, go ahead and slowly roll it all the way back up, bringing the head and neck up last. Loop your shoulders up, back, and down, and we'll come into that mountain pose. Next inhale, go ahead and reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold back down. And breathe. inhale, look forward, step one foot back, and then the other, coming into a plank pose. And breathe. Go ahead and lower your knees to the floor if you'd like, or you can practice chaturanga here if you're nice and warm enough. If you're practicing chaturanga, you'll look forward, you'll extend on those toes a little bit, and then keeping your elbows by your sides, you'll slowly lower down. And then on your next inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, and you can come into your baby cobra, your cobra, or if you want to come into your full upward facing dog, you can lift off of your hips with your feet really grinding or pressing into the ground, and breathe. From here you can tuck your toes, or you can lower your head back down if you're in cobra. And then you can either, with your toes tucked, if you're in cobra, you can press yourself up to all fours. And then when you're ready, lift the knees and lift the hips and come into a downward facing dog. If you were an upward facing dog, I'll lower back down here. If you're an upward facing dog, you can just tuck your toes and then lift your hips up, back, and down. And breathe. On your next inhale, lift the right leg up, keeping the toes pointed down. Exhale, bend the knee in towards your chest, shift forward, and then step your right foot up. Hop your left foot in just a little bit, and keep your toes pointed out to the outside corner of your mat. From here, rise up, keep that front knee bent, and we're going to come into a warrior one. So your hips should be facing the short end of your mat. Again, your feet should be on parallel train tracks, and then your left foot should be pointing kind of out at an angle, right foot straight ahead. Now you can leave your hands at your hips, you can bring them into your chest, or you can come into the full pose and bring your hands up towards the sky. And breathe. Go ahead and lower your hands down to your waist, and then step that right foot back so you're back into your high lunge again. And then on an inhale, go ahead and lower down. Take your left hand, place it towards the inside of your right foot, and then you can bring your right hand to the top of that right knee. If it feels good to you, you can twist towards the inside of your right knee, and you can lift that right arm up to the ceiling, coming into a little bit of a twist. And breathe. When you're ready, go ahead and lower that hand back down to the ground next to your foot, so you're back in that kind of lunge position. And then step your right foot back to meet the left, and we're going to come into a plank here. We'll just take a couple breaths here. Make sure you're nice and flat. I had to flatten out a little bit. And then when you're ready, lift that left foot up from your plank. On an exhale, bend that knee in towards your nose, and then step that left foot up in between your hands. Again, kind of hop your right foot up a little bit to bridge that distance. Keep your right toes pointed out towards that right corner of the mat. And on an inhale, with a flat back, come up to your warrior one position. Make any adjustments that you need in your feet. And again, you can stay here, you can stay with your hands here, or you can lift your arms up towards the sky. So whatever feels good in your body today. Nice big breaths. Go ahead and lower your arms down. Pivot on that back foot. You can step it back a little further if you need to come into that high lunge again. When you're ready, go ahead and lower your hands down to the mat. Bring your right hand this time to the inside of your left foot, and then you can place your left hand on that left knee. If you want a little more, you can turn towards the long edge of your mat, and then lift that left hand up towards the sky, and breathe. Make sure if you have it lifted up, you're not collapsing into your neck, so you can turn to look at your hand, or you can look down at the floor. And once you're ready, go ahead and lower that hand down to the ground, and then step that left foot back to meet the right, coming into another plank, and breathe. Right, on your next inhale, go ahead and walk forward. We're going to come into a little bit of a forward fold. So inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold down towards your mat. You can shake your head yes, you can shake your head no, just kind of shaking out any tension. You can even clasp your elbows and kind of just rock side to side if you'd like. Again, doing whatever feels right in your body today. When you're ready, go ahead and look forward. We're going to step one foot back, then the other. We'll just take one breath here. And then go ahead and lower onto your knees, and then lower all the way down to your belly. On your next inhale, go ahead and push into your palms. Come up into your Cobra, baby Cobra, or upward facing dog, whatever feels good to you today. Take just a couple breaths here. And when you're ready, lower back down. Press up to all fours if you're all the way on your belly. Tuck your toes under. And on an inhale, lift the hips, or lift the knees. Exhale, straighten through the legs, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. From here, we'll breathe. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift your right leg up. Exhale, bend through the knee, shift forward, and then step that right foot up in between your hands. Go ahead and raise up, and we're going to come back into that high lunge again. Now from here, go ahead and bring your hands to heart center and turn towards that right side. So you can stay here. If you'd like a little bit more, you can bring your arms up and bring that elbow to hook. Hook on your right. Bring your left elbow to hook on your right leg. And push into your hands to bring more of a twist. If that doesn't feel good to you, again, you can always just stay up and look this way, just to kind of twist, or you can stay right here. Do whatever feels comfortable for you today. Remember to keep breathing. On your next exhale, go ahead and release that down. Bring your hands to the ground, and then step your right foot back to meet your left foot. We're going to come into a plank pose again. So breathe from here. Go ahead ahead and lower onto your knees and then lower onto your belly. And on your next inhale, you can rise back up into that baby cobra, cobra or upward facing dog. And breathe. On your next exhale, go ahead and lower all the way down. You're going to press yourselves back up to all fours if you were all the way down on your belly. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, shift the hips up, back, and down, downward facing dog. And breathe. I'm sweating. We're almost through it, so just stick with it. I know you might feel trembling or shaking. Just stay with it. Right, on your next inhale, let's lift the left leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, shift forward, look forward, and then step that left foot in between your hands. And we're going to come back into that high lunge again. So make any adjustments you need here with your feet to feel nice and grounded and stable. Then we're going to bring our palms to our chest center. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, you can turn and twist towards that left side. And again, you can bring your right hand to hook onto your left knee, or on the outside of that left knee, and then twist and turn to look. Again, if this doesn't feel good to you or in your body today, take another variation. That's perfectly okay. Woo. More breath. All right, when you've had enough, go ahead and release that. Bring your fingers down to the ground. We're going to step back into our last plank of the day, I promise. So we'll stay here for just a moment. Breathe. And one more time, lower the knees down, lower your body down. And on an inhale, rise up into your cobra, baby cobra, or upward facing dog. Well, I have hair in my face again. And breathe. Your next exhale, go ahead and lower down towards the floor. Tuck your toes, push yourself back into all fours. Inhale, look forward. Take an exhale here. Next inhale, go ahead and lift your knees and hover. Exhale, straighten through the legs. Bring the hips up, back, and down, downward facing dog. And breathe. All right, when you're ready, let's go ahead and make our way to the top of the mat so you can take little baby steps here. One more kind of challenging pose. So we'll come into kind of this forward fold. So raise up halfway on an inhale, exhale, lower back down. And then go ahead from here and start to bend through your knees generously. Bring the top of your belly onto your thighs and kind of sit back. And then we'll start to raise our torso up, bringing our hands into heart center. So we're coming into a chair pose. So imagine you're at a concert, there's a porta potty, you don't want to sit on it, so you're just kind of hovering. So it'll kind of look like this. If you'd like a little bit more, go ahead and turn towards the right side, and then you can bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and come into a little bit of a twist. And breathe. Your next inhale, come back to center. Don't walk around here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, go ahead and straighten. Exhale, turn to the left. Again, you can hook the right knee or the right elbow onto your left knee over here and breathe. Keep breathing. Inhale, go ahead and return to center. Exhale, let it all go. Come into that forward fold. So inhale, flat back, come up halfway. Exhale, let it all go. You can shake your head out if you'd like. Whew. Sigh it out, yell, scream. Do whatever feels good to you. All right, from here, bring your feet as wide as the mat, as the outside of your mat. Kind of turn the toes out. And then go ahead and start to bend through the knees, shifting back a little bit, and you can come into a little bit of a yogic squat, I guess. I'm going to turn to face you guys here. So it's kind of like a little froggy squat. So you can keep your heels lifted up if you'd like, or if it's in your practice, you can lower your heels down to the ground. You can bring the inside of your arms to, or the outside of your arms to the inside of your knees, coming into that namaste and kind of pressing through your hips. If this doesn't feel good to you, you can always take a block. You can sit on the block to do this. If you'd like to stay up a little bit or your heels don't hit the ground, you can always keep your heels up too. So again, do what feels right to you and your body today. Come back to the side, make sure your chest is nice and up and you're not collapsing and rounding through. You want to really press. Feel that opening through your hip flexor or through your groin area. My anatomy is bad today. Woo. All right, when you're ready, release your hands. You can bring your arms behind you and then come to sit. And let's extend our legs out in front and just move them. You can windshield wiper them. Do whatever you need to do to feel better in your legs and just feel that nice, all that energy rushing down through your legs. Whew. All right, so we're going to start to cool it down. You guys did great. If you stuck with me this whole time, you are awesome. I knew you guys could do it. I know this was a more active practice than what I normally have done on here before, so it's kind of fun. It's been a while since I've done that. All right, so we're going to do one more twist and then we'll go into our final relaxation pose. So bend whichever leg. I'm going to bend my right leg first, so it's going to be the one on this side. So I'm just going to bring that up. I'm going to leave my left leg extended, nice and active through my left leg. Inhale, sit up nice and straight. I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to hook it around my right knee. I'm going to take my right fingertips, swing them around behind me. Inhale, I'm going to sit up nice and straight. On an exhale, I'm going to twist towards this right side, this right long edge of my mat. I'm just going to take a couple breaths here. You can either look forward or you can look over that right shoulder. Keep your chest nice and lifted though. And on your next exhale, release everything. Come back to center, release that leg, and then sit up nice and straight and just compare your two sides again. Alright, we're going to go to the other side. So I'm going to bend my left knee in and take my right arm and just hook my elbow around that left knee. I'm going to swim my left fingers back behind me. Sit up nice and straight on an inhale. And And on an exhale, I'm going to turn and twist. And you can look over that left shoulder if you'd like, or you can look forward. Again, do whatever feels right in your body today. And on your next exhale, just go ahead and let it all go. Sit up straight here for just a moment and breathe. When you're ready, you can go ahead and come to lie comfortably down onto your back. So slowly lower down. Extend the legs out. You can bring them as wide as your mat. Let the toes turn out. You can leave your hands at a 45-degree angle away from you, palms facing up or down, or even your pinkies on the outside of the floor. You can also rest your hands on yourself. So a hand on the belly, a hand on your heart, whatever feels comfortable for you. Take some deep breaths. Feel the benefits of the practice just kind of marinate in your body. And close down the eyes. I'm going to go silent now for just a moment and let you rest. I will keep an eye on the time though. For those of you that have practiced with me before, you know I always pull an oracle card for kind of the theme of the practice. For those of you that have not practiced with me before, I pull an oracle card for every practice before I kind of create it to see what the message is and kind of go from there. So the card I pulled today is Squirrel Spirit. And the message is believe in yourself. I actually pulled it upside down, so that means it is in the protection, kind of like the protective, it has more of a protection message than an actual oracle message. So the message for today is, and it's believe in yourself, but it is the unpredictability of life can shake your confidence in yourself and your potential for handling the challenges that come your way. Does the thought of not having enough or being enough make you squirrely? Have you forgotten all your strengths, wisdom, and resources? You have come so far on your wits and creativity, making use of all your potential and all that spirit presents you to help you through life's trying times. It's time to look back on your life and remember how your needs have always been met for the highest good, even in your most challenging times. Life loves you, and so many treasures are hidden in plain sight, ready to be revealed when you most need them. So relax. Squirrel Spirit wants you to know you are poised and ready for whatever is coming next. So trust in yourself, and trust that Spirit has your back. That was a really beautiful message for today's practice, and just really believing in ourselves. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as time allows you, or if you are ready to go about your day, then slowly start to deepen your breaths. Wiggle fingers and toes. You can bring your fingertips across the tops of your nails or across the tops of your fingertips to kind of wake everything up. And then when you're ready, go ahead and roll to your favorite side. You can bend your knees in. You can bring whichever arm is underneath, kind of as a pillow, and come into a nice fetal position. Just take a couple breaths here. If you're ready, go ahead and push yourself up to a seated position, bringing your head and neck up last. You can rub your palms together, kind of waking the body back up, bringing some energy back into the hands. And then bring that to stillness at heart center. Thank you so much for spending your time and your energy and sharing your practice with me. I hope you enjoyed this one today. If you did, please like and share and subscribe. I would very much appreciate it as I'm growing this channel. Again, thank you again. Have a great week. Namaste.